Good day, my name is Micaela Almontoya and I'm going to discuss the athletic long jump with its history and also the important phases that long jump do and the equipments also that they are going to use. But before I start, let's have an introduction. What is long jump? Long jump, or also known as broad jump, it is a track and field athletic event in which athletes sprint along a runway and jump as far as possible from a wooden takeoff board into the sandpit. This sport requires a lot of speed, strength, stamina, and agility to have a great landing. In history of long jump, the long jump is the only known jumping event that has its roots connected to the ancient Greece Olympics pentathlon events dated at 776 BC. The long jump was initially added as a sport because it had the characteristics that could help the people in crossing the obstacles such as streams and ravines. Moreover, it is said that the sport took place in the ancient Greek Olympics as it was supposed to be an act of training for warfare, and also athletes would carry weights ranging from 1 to 4.5 kilograms in each of hand and swing them forward at the takeoff phase to increase their momentum. So it was also one of the disciplines in the popular ancient Olympics pentathlon event. Now let's move on to the equipment that are used in the game. So first we have here the shoes. Jumpers use spike shoes for grip and stability and to withstand the pressure of the takeoff stride. Next is the clothing. Of course, for comfortable, it should be close-fitted vests and shorts are worn by jumpers that allow to free movement. Next equipment is the takeoff board. It is a rectangular board made of wood or synthetic material embedded into the runway about 1 meter before the sandpit. It usually measures 8 to 24 inches wide and 42 to 48 inches long. So we have also a landing area. It is filled with silicon sand, which is commonly 2.75 meters or 9 feet in wide, and then 9 meters or 29.52 feet in length, and at least 30 centimeters or 11.81 inches in depth. And lastly, the real tape measure. So it is a large tape, measuring tape that requires more length and best using to measure the jumper's length of the jump and also to rate their scores. So those were the important equipment that are used in the game. So next, of course, the measure or the length of the game. So the standard venue for the long jump includes a runway is at least 40 meters or 131 feet in length with no outer limit. So the takeoff board planted level with the surface is at least 1 meter or 3.3 feet from the end of the runway. And the sand-filled landing area is at least 2.75 meters or 9 feet and no more than 3 meters or of course 9.8 feet wide. In starting off the game, long jumpers start with a running to prepare themselves in the air with the designated launching point or also called the takeoff board and try to exceed maximum distance in the air before landing inside the sandpit. So next are the rules in long jump that must know and follow. So of course, first, the athlete begins running from his or her starting position and jumps, then landing in a sandpit. So there is a foul line in the run-up area and that the athlete has to be aware of. And first is jumping from beyond this line results in a jump foul. Jumpers must try to get as close as the foul lines as legally possible before initiating their jump. Next is no part of the athlete's foot should cross the front edge of the foul line. So if at the point of takeoff, any part of his foot crosses the front edge of the foul line, then the jump is turned into illegal or a foul jump, and it also does not count. So next, the long jumper has 3 attempts to register his or her best legal jump. So a foul jump accounts from an attempt. Only the furthest legal jump is counts. Last is the distance of the jump is measured from the front edge of the foul line to the first landing point of the athlete. So it means from the first point of the contact. Okay, we are done with the equipments that used in long jump and also the rules that need to follow by the facilitators and the athletes. Now next to be discussed is the tactics and techniques used in long jump. So first we have here the approach run. The approach run is essentially the sprint towards the takeoff board barring the final two steps. So a longer jumper has 40 meters of track available to them and a theory. So using the full distance is ideal to build up top speed and consequently maximum forward momentum before starting the leap. However, depending on the individual's technique, because the athletes may choose a shorter run up to have more control over the leap. So at the elite levels, athletes usually take 20 to 22 steps in their approach run. Next are the final two strides. So these are the two steps taken before an athlete goes airborne from the takeoff board. So to achieve maximal horizontal distance, long jumpers generally try to leave the ground at an angle of 20 degrees or less, and the final two strides are meant to prepare the body to achieve that without sacrificing too much forward velocity. So first stride, we have the penultimate stride. So it is generally longer than the last, and it is dedicated towards lowering one's center of gravity to prepare the body for the maximum possible upward thrust. Sorry. And of course, the second stride is the final stride. So before takeoff, meanwhile, it is the shortest step as the body centers of the gravity, and it starts shifting upwards in preparation for the jumps. So those are the two final strides before taking the takeoff. Okay, next is the takeoff. The takeoff is the transition from the final step to being airborne. So an athlete needs to ensure that their foot is flat on the ground to have the optimum impact, as jumping off either the heels or the toes has the adverse impacts on the jump. Next, of course, we have the action in the air. So once airborne, an athlete has little control over the direction and landing, but there are in-flight measures that they can take to maximize the distance traversed. So there are three techniques that are used while in the air. So first, we have here the sail or stride. It is the most basic one of the lot. The sail involves the jumper immediately lifting their legs into a toe-touching position after takeoff. So this allows the body to float or sail in the air longer with the momentum achieved during takeoff. Next is the hang. So these techniques involve stretching the body and making it as long as possible after being airborne. Both arms and legs are extended to reach the maximum distance possible, and the position is maintained until the jumper reaches the highest elevation. And the last is hedge kick. So hedge kick are also called climbing or running in the air. The athletes rotate their arms and legs during the flight to maintain balance. So this is the most important complex of the three techniques. Okay, next we have the last tactics in long jump. So it is the landing. So while landing, a long jumper's objective is to glide into the sandpit rather than just dropping in it. So to ensure the closest indentation to the takeoff board made by their body is at the maximum distance possible. So an athlete can turn to several maneuvers while landing. So athletes commonly focuses on keeping their feet in front of the body and full stretch from the hips. Upon landing, the jumpers often make sweeping motion with their arms and to help keep the legs up and the body forward. So those were the tactics and techniques that used in long jump. So this ends my presentation. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful day. God bless you always.